What appeared to be good news was it looked like we were bending the coronavirus curve. Since then, while it is bent, it has not really gone down very much. And so the length of time at which this is going to be with us does not appear to be shorter. In particular, the University of Washington model that came out this morning forecast a double number of deaths from where they were merely a week ago, at about 140,000 forecast deaths. We're dealing with something which we haven't seen before, and so there's a great deal of uncertainty, and we try to develop models. This is true in economic modeling as well. But if past history is not repeating itself, the model is not going to be all that reliable. Not as many people are staying home. Now, most people aren't, but the fact that more people aren't could very well be a source of the disease spreading further. The other bit of bad news that came out today was a new study from French scientists that suggests that there's a new strain and that the European strain is more virulent than the Asian strain. So the idea here is that if firms have good businesses but are short of cash, we want to keep them around. We don't want this lightning strike to cause them to fail. And it seems to me the biggest exception is everything that's related to travel is going to be vulnerable for a considerable period of time. Let's say the governor of your state says we're going to open everything tomorrow. 82% of people would be uncomfortable flying. 67% of people would be uncomfortable going to restaurants. 44% of people, as it is, are uncomfortable going to the grocery store. A number of businesses saw a big drop-off in business well before the government told people to stay home. People were deciding to stay home on their own. The problem we have with COVID is we don't know really how many people are getting it and how many people are dying from it. So it is interesting to look at just how many people are dying in a week in a particular location relative to the number of people who die in a week under normal circumstances, which is the 5 years average of people who died during that week. About 3 times more people in New York are dying in a week than die in a normal week. But the thing in California is there have been a fairly small number of COVID deaths, more in Los Angeles, but there are things that are offsetting it. So like people dying in highway crashes is down from where it was before. Impact on GDP, the range of forecasts right now is that it'll have between a 20 and 40% annualized growth rate impact on Q2. CARES and other acts are up to about $3 trillion, the consensus multiplier being 0.6. Means that this would restore about $1.8 trillion in economic activity. Federal Reserve has ramped up facilities to inject liquidity into the economy. About 30 million new people were unemployed in the last 2 weeks. That's about 18% of the US labor force. So current unemployment is almost certainly more than 20%. There is some evidence that CARES is helping some. So giving businesses forgivable loans in order to keep people on payroll is, believe it or not, keeping it worse from being worse than otherwise might be, because we have seen substantial take-up in this program. House prices are not falling at this point, and that's because people aren't being forced to sell their houses if they're in trouble because they're allowed to get forbearance on their mortgages. If you just look at mortgage rates relative to 10-year treasuries, they are very, very high by historical standards right now. We need to make it easier for people to refinance and to take advantage of lower rates, even if they're not as low as they should be. When we come out of this, we're going to see a lot of people take a hit on their FICO score because they will have lost their job and they're going to be 30, 60, 90 days late on things like credit card payments. And I worry that without some policy change in that dimension, those lower FICO scores going forward are going to stall the ability of the economy to restart because people are going to have a harder time buying cars and houses and so on.